My name is Irene Woulette. I'm 32 years old. And last month, the sister who destroyed my life with one single lie was bleeding out on my operating table while our parents stood 10 feet away, watching the daughter they threw away become the only person who could keep her alive. If you've ever been stabbed in the back by your own blood, if you've ever been erased by the people who were supposed to love you most, and you've dreamed of the day they'd have to look you in the eye and choke on their mistake, then stay with me. This one is going to hit you right in the chest. Before we dive in, if this story already has your heart racing, smash that like button right now. It helps more than you know. And drop your city and the exact time you're watching this in the comments. I read every single one. I want to know who's sitting with me through this. Now, let's go back 5 years. Fall of 2019, Hartford, Connecticut. Our kitchen table still smelled like mom's meatloaf and dad's aftershave. I was 27, third-year med student at Oregon Health and Science, home for the weekend with the acceptance letter that was supposed to change everything. My sister Monica, 3 years older, always the star, sat across from me, smiling that tight little smile that never reached her eyes. Mom and Dad read the letter out loud like it was a miracle. Oregon Health and Science University, Dad said slowly, tasting every syllable. He looked at me, really looked at me, and said the 5 words I'd waited my whole life to hear. Maybe you'll make us proud. My chest actually hurt from how hard my heart slammed against my ribs. For once, the spotlight was on me, and Monica felt it. I saw it in the way her fingers tightened around her wine glass. Growing up, there were 2 daughters in the Ouellette house, but the world only ever had room for one. Monica was the performer, student council, school plays, the girl who could charm any adult in 30 seconds flat. Mom and Dad worshipped the ground she walked on. Appearances and obedience, that was their religion. I was the quiet one with her face in a textbook while Monica held court at Thanksgiving. 8th grade science fair. I took 2nd place in the entire state. Same weekend Monica had a community theater show. Guess which one they attended? Dad barely glanced at my ribbon and said, "That's nice, Irene." Never asked what my project was about, never once. I told myself it didn't hurt. I poured everything into my grades instead. If they wouldn't see me, I'd become impossible to ignore. The acceptance letter changed the temperature in the house for exactly 1 week. Mom called Aunt Ruth, called the neighbors, voice cracking with something I'd never heard before, genuine pride. At dinner, Monica smiled with her mouth while her eyes did math in the background. That week she started calling me constantly. "How's packing? Who's your roommate? Tell me about your professors." I thought my big sister was finally seeing me. I gave her every detail like an idiot, every name, every fear, every vulnerability. I handed her the map to my destruction with a grateful smile. 3rd year of med school. My roommate Sarah Mitchell, foster kid, no family, my ride or die, got diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. I went to the dean the next morning, filed a legitimate leave of absence for caregiver status. Paperwork signed, spot held. I moved into her spare room, drove her to chemo, held her hand at 3 a.m. when the pain made her scream. I called Monica to tell her, her voice dripped honey. "Oh my God, Irene, I'm so sorry. Take all the time you need. I won't say a word to Mom and Dad." 3 days later, she called them anyway, 11:07 p.m. I was sitting in a plastic chair beside Sarah's hospital bed when my phone lit up. Dad's voice was ice. "Your sister told us everything, the dropping out, the boyfriend, all of it." I could barely breathe. "Dad, that's not," I filed a leave of absence. "I can show you the paperwork." Monica showed us the messages. She showed us proof. Mom got on the line, voice shaking. "How could you lie to us for a whole year?" I begged. I offered the dean's number, Sarah's oncologist, anything. Dad's last words before the line died: "Don't call this house until you're ready to tell the truth." I sat on that hospital floor for 20 straight minutes while Sarah's IV beeped behind the curtain. My entire family gone in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. Monica texted me 30 minutes later. "I'm sorry, Irene, I had to tell them." Broken heart, she wasn't sorry. She had just executed the cleanest hit of her life. Over the next 5 days I called 14 times, got blocked on the 4th, sent emails with the leave of absence PDF attached, both ignored, mailed a handwritten letter priority. It came back unopened, Mom's handwriting on the envelope. Aunt Ruth tried to intervene, Dad hung up on her too. On the 6th day I stopped calling, not because I gave up, because I finally understood they had chosen Monica a long time ago. She just gave them permission to stop pretending. Sarah died on a Sunday morning in December. I was the only person in the room. 6 people showed up to her funeral. I read her eulogy to mostly empty pews and didn't cry. I had already used up every tear I had. That night, alone in her apartment, I found the yellow sticky note she'd left inside Grey's Anatomy. Finish what you started, Irene. Become the doctor I know you are. Don't let your own blood tell you who you are. I re-enrolled the next morning, no safety net, no family. Just student loans, cafeteria leftovers, and 12-hour rotations where I'd cry in the supply closet, then go suture the next patient like nothing happened. I graduated on time. No one from Hartford came. I matched into surgical residency at Mercyhurst Medical Center, Level 1 Trauma Center, busiest in Connecticut. Dr. Margaret Thornton, chief of surgery, took one look at me and decided I was worth investing in. She became the mother I lost. Third year of residency, I met Nathan Caldwell, calm-eyed civil rights attorney with dry humor and zero pity. I told him the whole ugly story on our third date. He just listened, then said 4 words that healed something in me: "You deserve better." We got married in Maggie's backyard, 30 guests. Nathan's dad walked me down the aisle. The invitation to Hartford came back unopened. Aunt Ruth cried enough for both parents. After the ceremony, Maggie handed me a sealed envelope, a nomination for Chief of Trauma. "You're not ready to open it yet," she said. I kept it in my drawer like a promise. 5 years passed. I became Chief of Trauma Surgery at 32, house in the suburbs, husband who makes me laugh every single day. Golden retriever named Hippocrates, Hippo for short, who thinks cereal at midnight is a personality trait. But some aches never leave. Every Thanksgiving I still count plates and feel the empty chairs like phantom limbs. Aunt Ruth called every Sunday. She was my only thread. She told me the full campaign Monica had run for 5 years, telling the family I was homeless in rehab, that I had cut them off. She even hired someone to check my hospital credentials 2 years ago, looking for dirt that didn't exist. Monica hadn't just lied once. She had built an entire cathedral of lies with me as the villain and herself as the sainted older sister. Then last month, Ruth called with a different tone in her voice. "Irene, there's something you need to know about Monica." My pager went off. Level 1 trauma, MVC, single female, 35, blunt abdominal trauma. Hemodynamically unstable, ETA 8 minutes. I never heard the rest of what Ruth was trying to tell me. 3:07 am. I was in scrubs and running before Nathan even woke up fully. The roads were black and wet. I ran the case in my head the whole drive: probable splenic rupture, possible liver lack, unstable vitals. I'd done this surgery 100 times. I badged into the trauma bay. My team was already there. I grabbed the iPad from the charge nurse. Patient name, Monica Doulette, DOB March 14, 1990. Emergency contact, Gerald Woolette, father. The hallway noise disappeared. For 3 full seconds, I wasn't Dr. Irene Woolette, chief of trauma. I was the 27-year-old girl sitting on a Portland hospital floor listening to a dial tone. Linda, my charge nurse, touched my shoulder. "Dr. Woolette, you good?" I blinked, set the iPad down, and said the calmest words of my life. "Prep Bay 2, page Dr. Patel. I want him on standby." The ambulance siren grew louder. The doors cracked open. There she was, my sister, pale, unconscious, blood soaking the sheets. And right behind the stretcher, Mom and Dad, faces twisted in terror. Mom's eyes locked on the white coat walking toward them. She saw the name stitched above the pocket. Dr. Irene Woolette, chief of trauma surgery. Her hand shot out and grabbed Dad's arm so hard I saw the skin go white. Dad's mouth opened, but nothing came out. I didn't flinch. I didn't smile. I became the surgeon they never believed I could be. "Family to the waiting room," I said, voice steady. "We're taking her straight to OR 3. Inside the OR, the lights were blinding. Monitors screamed. I gloved up, stepped to the table, and looked down at the woman who had erased me. Scalpel. For the next 2 hours and 47 minutes, I fought for her life with the same hands she had tried to destroy. Splenic artery blade. Liver laceration. I repaired it all while my parents sat 20 feet away on plastic chairs, finally forced to face the daughter they had buried alive. When I walked out of that OR, scrubs soaked with sweat and someone else's blood, Mom and Dad shot to their feet. "Irene," Mom's voice cracked. I pulled my mask down. "Your daughter is stable. She's in recovery. She's going to make it." Dad's eyes filled. "We didn't know. We thought." I held up one hand. "You thought exactly what Monica told you to think." For 5 years. I reached into the pocket of my white coat and pulled out the folded leave of absence paperwork I had carried in my wallet every single day since Sarah died. The same documents they never bothered to read. I handed it to my father. Everything she told you was a lie, every holiday story, every rumor, every fake inquiry to my hospital, all of it. I kept this so one day you'd have to look at it with your own eyes. Mom started sobbing. Dad's hands shook so hard the paper rattled. Monica woke up 8 hours later. The first thing she saw was me sitting beside her bed, chart in hand. The second thing she saw was our parents standing behind me, faces carved with the kind of regret that doesn't wash off. She tried to speak. I leaned in close so only she could hear. You tried to kill my future, I just saved yours, we're even. Then I walked out. Mom and Dad have called every single day since. Blocked. Monica sent a letter. I burned it unopened. Aunt Ruth told me the rest later, the concerning thing she never got to finish on the phone. Monica's divorce wasn't just a divorce. She'd been spiraling, drinking, and the accident was her third DUI in 2 years. The family had been covering for her the same way they once covered for her lies about me. Karma didn't just knock. It walked into my ER wearing my sister's face. I still set the table for Thanksgiving and count the empty chairs. But now when the ache hits, I look across at Nathan, at Hip snoring under the table, at the photo of Sarah on the mantle, and I remember who I became without them. I didn't need their apology. I needed them to watch me become the woman they never believed in while I saved the sister who tried to bury her. If you've ever been the family scapegoat, if you've ever rebuilt your entire life from the ashes someone else lit, drop a fire in the comments. If you believe karma is real and sometimes it wears scrubs, type karma right now. Thank you for sitting through the whole story with me. If this gave you even a fraction of the justice rush I felt walking out of that OR, smash like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I've got more stories where this came from. And if you're watching this right now and you're the one who's been erased by your own family, I see you. You're not invisible, you're just becoming the person they'll never be able to ignore. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay strong. Stay surgical and never let anyone write your ending for you.